crowd shoved past Hector in an uncontrollable stream, moving in and surrounding Cara. Terror formed in her eyes as she was pushed and spit upon. Hector raised his voice just as Gregor pitched the rock. "Stop!" The heavy rock clipped Cara on the side of the face and she fell forward, stunned. Gregor picked up a fist-sized stone, larger than the last. "Get her, lads!" Everything seemed to take on slow movement as Hector homed in, watching her roll to her back hurt. Her fingers went to her forehead and came away, thick with blood. A man delivered a kick to her ribs, another man a fist to her mouth and nose. The crowd swarmed over her. The hairs on the back of Hector's neck rose. A voice, ancient and brave, called him into battle and spoke 2 words. Protect her. The berserker, long hidden in the shadows, stepped into the light. Righteous anger roused him from his hibernation and beckoned him forward. In 5 quick steps, he penetrated the encircling crowd and threw himself on top of her, covering her small body with his own. Her mossy green eyes, hazy with pain, met his own as she coughed on the blood in her mouth and nose. Rocks bounced off his back and kicks landed against his side and legs, trying to reach her. Steeling himself against the blows, their eyes locked together, and he imprinted on everything she was, resolving that nothing would ever harm her again. A voice screamed over the crowd, "Stop! It's the Laird!" He waited for the blows to subside, then pushed over her and advanced on her assailants. Senses heightened, the smell of prey scented in his nostrils, his eyes dilated, and blood surged in his veins. The first man tried to scramble away. In one motion, Hector's arms fired forward, colliding with the man's chest and sending him backward. Drawing his leg back, Hector shot his foot into the top of the man's thigh with a crack, stealing his mobility and forcing him to the ground. Over and over, his foot repaid the man for his kicks to someone so precious, stomping until he was satisfied the man wouldn't get up again. The second man swung his arm out in a foolish attempt to defend himself. Hector forced away the incoming swing, wrenching the man's arm behind him, locking the elbow and shoving him down by the neck. Hector's fist slammed into the man's face, punishing it with the same heavy blows he'd paid Cara until he dropped against the ground limp. Panting against his fury, Hector prowled the thinning crowd, hunting the object of his rage. Gregor ran for the edge of the clearing, looking as if he were about to escape. Picking up the rock pitched at Cara, Hector launched it to the soft back of Gregor's thigh. His arms flew out, a second rock he'd picked up still clenched in his fist. Screaming, he hit the ground in a heap. Hector stalked over to him. Gregor shrieked as Hector's large hand closed around his scrawny neck and lifted him off the ground. Hector's voice became a deadly growl. "Drop the rock!" Gregor opened his fist and the rock landed upon the ground with a heavy, sickening thud. A new surge of conferred power stole away any fatigue he might have felt holding Gregor aloft, and he tightened his grip against the beast, determining the most torturous way to tear him apart. Lachlan ran to his side and tried to pry his hand from Gregor's neck. "Let go, brother." Not a chance. Gregor had harmed his woman. He'd spilled innocent blood and derived a thrill from frightening her, and now he would learn the consequences for his evil. Gregor's hands came around Hector's and he gasped for air, feet straining for the ground 6 inches below. Words snarled through Hector's clenched jaw. "You wanted her dead." Lachlan pulled with all his might against Hector's grip, but it was no use. Something greater than his own strength was racing through his veins, avenging Cara. Gregor's face turned purple. "Brother, let go."
If you have a problem with her presence in my clan, you can fight me. But animals like you would rather terrorize and dominate someone half your size.
He tightened his fist and shook him.
Murderous coward! How does it feel to be dominated?
Gregor clawed wildly at the hand around his throat. A small hand touched his steeled bicep. "Mercy, Hector. Let him go." Rage roaring in his ears, Hector looked into Cara's beseeching face and weakened for but a moment. A dark trickle of blood ran from her head, soaking the plain linen that modestly covered her hair. Her cheek was unnaturally flat, her eye already swollen shut, blood tinging her lips and nose. Strength surged through his muscles with fresh potency, and he lifted Gregor up another 6 inches until the man's eyes were above his own. He bellowed into his face, spittle hitting Gregor's purple cheek.
Do you see what you've done to her? And she begs for your mercy when you showed her none.
Lachlan pleaded with him. "Listen to her, brother. You're a better man." Longing to put down the threat, but yielding to her will, Hector roared and hurled Gregor to the ground, chest heaving with the force of unspent battle rage. Pacing like an agitated monster, he let the bloodlust and vengeance drained from his senses, as he always did after battle. When his heart had settled, he returned to her side and cradled her jaw, cleaning the blood from her face with his handkerchief. She held her cheek and struggled to speak. "I've caused so much trouble for you, Laird. I didn't mean for you to... I'm sorry for everything." Tucking her into his side, he guided her back to Gregor and placed his boot on his neck, holding him to the ground.
Don't forget that by her hand alone, mercy has been given to you this day.
Gregor nodded, and Hector kicked him away. Remorse would not form in his gut. His soul could not turn from hers. He put a knuckle under her chin and lifted her downcast eyes to him.
You are not to apologize. I will never let anyone harm you again.
Raising his voice, he bound his protection over her.
Clan MacLean of Lochbuie, you are witnesses that Cara is mine to defend. I number her among my household. I bind myself to her as guardian and protector until the end of my days. If anyone breaches her peace or safety, it is an offense against the chieftain.
He strutted over and plucked Elspeth from Leo's grasp, pulling her onto stumbling feet toward Cara.
Apologize to her.
Elspeth nodded with frantic understanding. "I apologize for my rudeness, but perhaps we could take you back to Dwart for help." Vari rushed forward beside Elspeth. "Yes, please, let us make this horrible incident up to you in some small way." Swallowing hard, Cara inched away from the woman and turned to face him. With one hand cradling her cheek, she spoke with great effort. "I appreciate your defense of me and guarantee of safety. I don't wish to cause you any further embarrassment today.